Good morning, everyone. This is the open forum from digital government in Mexico. The session is about to start. The session will be moderated by Mr. Victor Lagunes, head of the unit of innovation and technological strategy in the Office of the President of Mexico. So, Mr. Lagunes, you have the floor. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I have the honor of serving as the head of IT strategy of innovation of the Office of our President in Mexico. It's my pleasure to serve as the moderator of this session. Thank you, Israel. Welcome to the Open Forum on Regional Cooperation organized by a Latin American and Caribbean network for the development of e-government, what we call our Red HEALC. We have with us Mrs. Yolanda Martinez Mancilla. She's remotely connected. We're going to be hearing her through these devices as we don't have connected the speakers. We also have, she's the head of digital government unit for the Ministry of Public Administration in Mexico. We also have with us Mr. Marcelo Pagotti, Secretary of ICT at the Ministry of Planning, Development and Management of Brazil. Mr. Daniel Abadier, Undersecretary of Digital Government at the Ministry of Modernization of Argentina. Ms. Alejandra Erramuspe, Chief Communications Officer at AGESIC at the Office of the President of Uruguay, who is also a member of the IGF MAG and the LAC IGF Executive Committee. And Miguel Porrua, Head Specialist of Electronic Government at the Inter-American Development Bank. Also, we have Mr. Belisario Contreras from the OES SICTE Committee. It's an honor to have you here. First, we will have a remote presentation about the Red HEALC by Mrs. Martinez. Please go ahead, Yolanda. Thank you so much, Yolanda. Let me just highlight that it's 2:30 a.m. in the morning where Yolanda is at. And if you know Yolanda, that you know that that's not an issue for her, and you heard her presentation in a very succinct and eloquent manner. So we thank you doubly, Yolanda, for your input. She presented the goals and successes of the Red Helk. Continuing these efforts, let's move forward with a discussion of the Latin American experience in digital government by hearing the initial interventions of the three member countries and the contributions of the collaborative work within the network framework. Let's start with Argentina. Mr. Abadier, in your opinion, what are the strengths of having a transversal organization for electronic government in the region, and how does Argentina been part of this effort? Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Good morning, all. We are not so much, so we can get closer. For us, from Argentina, it's extremely important to get in, the region stronger. We see a huge opportunity for Latin American and Caribbean countries to develop strategies on digital government, on making better services for the citizens, but also thinking in a regional way that in exchanging experiences. Argentina right now has assumed the presidency of the G20, and for the first time in the Digital Economy Task Force, we just add a track of digital government that wasn't, in the previous G20 strategies, because we feel that we had a lot to learn from government, trying to make government more efficient, more citizen-driven, and that's an opportunity that we can push through G20 and making, a Latin American Caribbean flavor into it. And that's an opportunity for us, for our region, to collaborate, to share software, share good cases, of success, but also failures, of learning from each other, learning and stop, reinventing the wheel, which is a typical thing in government. So, said that, I guess I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna learn about my colleagues and try to then start a discussion with you here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Abadier. Let's now ask Mr. Porrua from the IDV what are the challenges that the Latin American region has to promote digital government, and how does your organization work with the Red Helk to overcome them? He's also connected remotely. Yes, please go ahead. Excuse me, Mr. Porrua, is it possible to get a little bit more volume on your side? Thank you. Yes, better, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Perua. Mr. Pagotti, in your opinion, does Brazil have a specific goal within the framework of the Red Hat, and what kind of participation does your country has established with other states in its network? Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So thank you, the Mexico government, to invite us to be here today. And Brazil is learning a lot with Mexico, Argentina, Uruguay, how deliver better services for the citizen community and how we speed up the process to deliver that service. You know, we cannot start from zero. We need to learn what you need to do, when you need to do, and see what's do and don't that this country did in the past, and try to share, try to be more collaborate with this country, you know, because in my opinion, the government need to transform to be as a provider of the service, you know, because in the future, we become, the citizen decide where we to live or where you want to pay the tax. Because if a country close to Brazil, like Argentina, provide better services, like education, health, anything else, I believe the citizen can change your country and pay tax there and consume service there. So my opinion, the Brazilian government or the Brazilian state need to be prepared to offer better services in a short time, and, you know, I will say to be more collaborative and use the experience from this country. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pagotti. Mrs. Ramuspe. From the experience of Uruguay, how does Red Hat contribute to cooperation among the Latin American and the Caribbean countries, and how can these efforts add value to the multi-stakeholder forums such as IGF and the LAC IGF? Thank you.
First of all, I would like to say that I'm glad to be here and that we appreciate the invitation to participate in this panel. On behalf of Jose Klastornik, the Director of the Agency of Electronic Government and Information Society of Uruguay, and Diana Parra, the most Uruguayan Colombian I know, responsible for the international relationship of the agency. Both of them work in this network every day, as you know. Uruguay has been working in the HEALC network since its creation in 2003. We had the honor of chairing the first committee when the governance of the network was defined for the first 2 years. We appreciate the recognition and trust all of you gave to us. In the last meeting of the Red HEAL held in Santo Domingo last month, one of the issues that stood out was the very existence of the network. Because as a network, it's probably one of the best networks in the world. Why? Because it is very active. In what sense is it active? It is active in the interpersonal relationship that exists between all directors, and is active because there are many one-on-one cooperation through the existing cooperation mechanisms. We are highly committed and have an active participation in all instances of the network, in the studies, in the working groups, in the discussions. The second thing I would like to say is that the network is the opportunity to identify and get to know the offices responsible for the digital government in the region. Identify, know each other, and stay connected. And in that sense, a government changes, an authority changes, and the network, from the dynamic it has already established, contacts the new one and say, hi, I am here to help you in whatever you need in these issues. And for us, this is a second function that the network has. Engage the new ones so that we all help and situate them in the government regional context. This is a way, in addition, which the advances are not lost, that the process continues. We don't have established formal mechanism for this, but it works. The Red HEALC integrates the new ones into the conversation space, is more or less formal, and hooks them. Because among other things, the network returns if you don't know what your country was working on. Sometimes the help is not just to give continuity and make it an historical, but help to continue the maturation process in the country or on these issues. The network helps you to continue the process, sometimes make it available. In the network, we can share experience, think together in topics that are very new, that must be explored, how they are inserted. Working with others is a plus. It is better than do it separately. Our countries aren't at the same level of maturity at the different issues. For that, according to our different levels, we help to others when we are most advanced in a specific subject, and perhaps the same country receive cooperation in another subject in which they are further behind. For these activities, this horizontal cooperation, we have a fund that Beli Sario was talking about. Other thing is the punctual cooperation between two countries. These activities, these actions, we can put in the stage 1 of the Red Realc. They are the initial stages of the development process of this regional cooperation. The network, after 14 years, 2003, 2017, is already in another stage. We can no longer settle only to identify, contact, and coordinate. We are beginning to generate products from collaboration. In the last couple of years, we started to generate products together. For example, public software, Latin American versions of public software, LAT versions. Chile, for example, had a simple BPM for process from form for procedures. Put it on the table for us to evolve together. Uruguay defined using it for these initial phases of putting online services in the central administration of the government. When Uruguay takes it, it evolves, and it is put in a regional community, and so everyone collaborate and change something, and we have a LAT version. We are working in 3 public software.lat. Simple, another for emergencies, and another for electronic signature. Public software is a regional product, a version that begins developing in a country and evolves among all, is improved collectively to better serve the needs of the region. Another way to have this kind of integrated product is, for example, the Open Data Group. Shola said something about this. They choose a set of data that all countries will work on. They are working in data of gender violence nowadays. The Open Data Group is also working on a maturity model of open data, a list of all the data that countries should be producing for their open data strategy. Another example is the digital government indicators strategy that Shola talked about this. We define 15 indicators in 6 dimensions of digital government. The 6 dimensions are public software, digital signature, digital services, interoperability, satisfaction, and use. Each country works in each dimension. We in Uruguay works in digitization of services. In 2017, we study, conceptualize, and test these indicators, and in 2018, we are planning to measure it. After this, we hope to have these indicators on the Red Realc website, to have a section which we could call the region in numbers or something similar. Summarizing. The network is worth it and evolves. The network is very good in what normally a network is, because beyond the changes, it has been sustained over the years, 14 years. Today, it has begun to evolve in the type of collaboration to generate regional goods and LAT products. What have we achieved in this regard? Public software LAT version, battery of indicators for e-government that we are all going to measure. We define data sets that have to be open. To finish, I would like to do a proposal for the future. Wouldn't it be convenient for us to take one more step, and instead of being only the governments in the network, why don't we invite other stakeholders to join the conversation? Won't it be convenient to promote the maturity that the network is already have, that the discussions on the e-government issues integrate other stakeholders? Uruguay invite all the organizations here, technical community, academia, civil society, private sector, to help us in this new challenge, to start a dialogue to help us to design the shape in which this involvement will be possible. We think in this way the Red HEALC will be strengthening and move forward. I finish here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muspe. Thank you, Ale. Thank you for all your valuable insight. In the spirit of the multi-stakeholder vision of the IGF, we shall open the microphone to our participants to add to the discussion and the inputs from their organizations and sectors. We have the good and honorable presence here also of Mr. Belisario and Oscar Robles. There's one hand also in here. I would like to ask first, if you allow me, Mr. Belisario Contreras to share with us his insight. He is the Cybersecurity Program Manager of the Secretariat of the Inter-American Committee Against Terrorism of the OAS.
Thank you, Victor, and thank you, Yolanda, for the kind invitation. Although I'm with the Secretariat, of course, I'm glad to say that the Technical Secretariat of the Red HEALC is hosted at the General Secretariat of the Organization of American States, and our colleagues Maria Fernanda Trigo and Mike Mora are doing an outstanding job. Actually, my colleague Miguel Porrua was doing so outstanding job there that the IDB had to hijack him, and now he's working with the IDB. But well, we hope that they don't hijack neither Maria Fernanda nor Mike. I just want to add a couple of thoughts. What you already, or most of you already said, is actually to understand the present and maybe actions for the future is go a little bit back to the past. From the OAS perspective and actually the internal perspective, I need to tell you that I agree that the Red HEALC is perceived as a successful network. From the cybersecurity group, or from the cybersecurity side, actually we have cooperated for several years with you and participated in several meetings and several initiatives, actually, which are the most important. And this is, the results are actually, and actually the success that, for example, that Mexico is having today as chair is actually thanks in big part to the architects of this network since 2003, the governments of Uruguay, and of course, the sponsors of this initiative at the OAS, at the IDB, at the governments of Canada, which would have been impossible to build what we have today, almost 15 years later. My colleague, Miguel, from the IDB, I want to say that I disagree with a couple of things that he said that there are no resources. I think the IDB has resources to put in the countries. He said that he put 7 loans this year, and I think the IDB could put more money in countries, with all due respect, and actually that's an important role maybe for the bank. And another opportunity maybe to think in the present and the future is actually some of the points taking actually what Miguel was saying. Cooperation, collaboration, standards, interoperability. Those are the things that you can reach consensus at the political level in an organization such as the OAS. And that's actually that's the beauty of the Inter-American system and of sister organizations. When you join the political consensus and actually the financial and the technical cooperation. And then thinking on the future, I don't think the governments need to be shy or afraid to invest on this. I think there are really good success experiences. We were looking this year, the anniversary of the 10 years of AGESIC in Uruguay, really success stories in Mexico, countries like Colombia, and others, another country around the hemisphere. So our invitation is actually to foster the digital development, more than the government, the digital development. And of course, from our perspective, as you think on this digital development and the promotion of e-government services, to all the citizens of the Americas, think on how to secure and promote a secure cyberspace to them. That needs to be thought since the beginning. From our side, both the OEAS, the IDB, and other international organizations, private sector actors, civil society, and the technical community, we are already working on this. And actually, we welcome that the Red Real is actually thinking on expanding the participation of other members. So from the political side, I think that would be very, very welcome, I would say, from the technical secretary perspective. Again, I totally agree with the final comment from our colleague from Uruguay. The Red Real has been maybe one of the most successful networks, has been able to maintain, to prove results, but it's responsibility of its members to continue strengthening, to continue fostering, but that is only will be possible producing more results, more products, and showing it to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Contreras. Mr. Oscar Robles from LACNIC, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. And our point of view as the regional internet registry of Latin America and the Caribbean, we have usually contact with all these e-government initiatives in the region. And we've seen that even if the country has many challenges to be as competitive as they would like to, the e-government initiatives are very important for this competitiveness. And sometimes they are the ones that are driving that growth of the country in this competitive world. So the internet is supposed to be a tool for delivering better services to the society. It's supposed to be a tool for governments to help do their job. But the developing countries have many challenges. And one of those challenges is that society is not the 50% that is able to be connected. That society is not the lucky ones to be a business case for telecom operators to deliver network services. So society is the other 50% also. The ones that have the disadvantage to be isolated for many reasons, that could be geographically isolated, for age isolation, for gender, for language, for education, infrastructure, physically challenged, visually impaired, and along, etc. So governments and especially e-government initiatives should try to engage with many local actors to connect that other 50% to actually deliver services to the whole society. Multi-stakeholderism is the answer for those purposes. Society should not be just waiting for government to deliver access to remote places and for all those isolated communities. But government certainly can do the job to bring many actors to the table and discuss many solutions. Ones that could be a business case for telecom operators, ones that could be part of the government initiatives to deliver internet access. Those initiatives that may be covered by rural communities, initiatives for interconnection, and so many other kind of solutions that could be carried out by many actors locally. LACNIC has supported an initiative from Argentina for a couple of years ago, which is called Libre Router, which is a solution by the society, by the community, where the operators have no business case, so they find a solution to interconnect many separated small communities in Argentina, in the fields, in the mainland, not in the traditional cities, and to find a sustainable solution with cheap equipment, $100 equipment with free software or open software. So this is the kind of solutions that we think the governments may help to deliver to the rest of the population that has not the chance to be connected, and in that way to deliver better services to the rest of the community that is not able to be connected at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robles. We'd like to accept the input for our colleague. If you would like to say your name and your organization.
Mr. Iftikhar Shah from Ministry of IT, Government of Pakistan. Thank you very much for detailed discussions and valuable input on the e-government. Basically, the Government of Pakistan is implementing the e-government in the country. We are well versed in government-to-government initiatives, and we are struggling and taking initiative on the government to citizens. However, we observed that the implementation of e-government, particularly in developing countries, is a socio-technical challenges. And the recent and past research is the evidence for this point. Basically, e-government is one of the key initiatives to take leads for the digitization, and it also lead to for the open data concepts. It also give efficient and effective way to promote the provision of digital services to their citizens. However, it is observed that international organizations including ICANN, IGF, ITU, IGF are focusing on the e-government, but the major focus of these international organizations are on other parts, like in ICANN is the domain name systems, IGF is working for the internet governance. So my suggestion is that this is a fast and efficient way that the countries of the world, particularly the countries who are well versed in the e-government, they can share their experiences and the practical in terms of G2G and in terms of G2C services, in terms of e-government, maybe have a centralized repository, and there should be a dedicated forum for the e-government, like there are forum for the internet governance, there are forum for the domain name system. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'd like to open the floor for questions or further discussion, if necessary. Ambassador, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, thank you for your presentations and sharing with us the work, this very important effort in this network. I think that this is a very good example of a very successful and productive regional cooperation, and that with tangible results, and of course is also remind us the importance of using these important tools, technological tools of internet for providing better services and to be, let's say, closer to the people. And in being the people in the center of this effort, I was wondering if you could comment or to share some comments on the public reaction and to these efforts, and if there is any particular fields where you perceive that the public, the people, have noticed or have reaction in a positive way to these efforts that finally are directed to them as your main customers, I may say. So thank you again for the presentations.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Additional inputs? So with that, then I would like to summarize and close the session for today, thanking you first for all your inputs. I think the efforts and the successes are already very, very tangible. The networks being deployed over the last years and being strengthened are proving the results in a very valuable way. Not only we shared in here what we are missing yet, for example, some countries with no digital strategies yet, or understanding that there's some talent that needs to be filled in terms of, for example, cybersecurity positions and so on, but mainly into strengthening and continued collaboration amongst all of the countries, not only regional but internationally, to be able to deploy infrastructure, to be able to deploy digital services agendas, and to allow the citizen to, of course, find their solutions themselves. And one of the lines that I like from here very much is, if we do offer access to digital services and technology to the citizens, they can actually change governments and change our countries for the better. So thank you so much for your presence here, for your inputs, and continuing your efforts within the digitizations of the planet, and also regionally and locally.
Thank you.
Conheci tua, acho que em Chile, uma senhora Marinés, perfeito. Como está lá, muito bem?
Bem, bem.
Vamos ver se ano que vem eu faço uma visita para
Você tem que venir, nós temos lá.
Sim.
Tem esto, nós podemos trabalhar melhor.
Muito bem, sim, sim, sim.
Perto,
E tênis muito flexível, quer fazer serviço. Ou vocês podem fazer para a Argentina, ou posso fazer.
mais serviços compartidos, os temas que tem Argentina, Brasil, salud, dengue, mosquitos.
Voltando agora para o mês de janeiro, eu faço uma proposta. Boas festas.
Boa festa.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Amanhã.
A particular site.
Yes.
It's easy to find the thing.
Yeah, it's
It's
available.
working. Evolution.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Eu vou ficar.